Usually I get questions like this. How do I know what insights are important to my stakeholders? How do I know what insights to present? How can I create effective visualizations? How do I know what metrics are important to my stakeholders? Now, if you are one of these people who have asked such questions, or you intend to ask these questions, make sure you stay to the end of this video, because I'm going to be answering these questions and showing you what works best and how I've also been able to incorporate these tips into my job as a data analyst. Here are two things that you need to know before we get into the video. The first thing is, it doesn't matter the data analytics tool that you are using. What matters is that you are able to use it efficiently. Now, what does it mean to use it efficiently? It means that the tool is more easier to use and it gets things done quickly. The second thing is, even if you've not started working yet as a data analyst in any organization, you can apply these tips that I'll be mentioning in this video into your projects. Now, we all know that projects are a great way of showcasing your skills, your expertise to the public, and of course to your potential employers. Now that you know this, let's get right into the video. The first tip is knowing your target audience. Now, this is very important because when you know your target audience, you know how to tailor your analysis to their needs. Let's even go outside of data analytics. Every business has a target audience. So also you should know your target audience. That is the people who are going to make use of your insights at the end of the day. Now that you know your target audience, the next thing is to know what they want. You won't know what they want until they tell you what it is they want to see, right? So which brings us to knowing the objectives. Every data analysis task has an objective. That is what the stakeholder or what your end user wants you to deliver. So it is important that you know the objectives so that you are able to analyze your data accordingly. Now you know the objectives. The next thing is identifying important metrics and KPIs. From the objectives, you should be able to identify what is the KPI, what is the important metrics, or what are these metrics that are important to my stakeholders. For example, the objective is to analyze the profits or the profitability of a company over time. Now, what metric should you analyze from this objective? You can analyze the profit ratio over time to see which year the company actually got more profits. This is just an example. There are a lot of other metrics and KPIs. It all depends on the objectives set by your target audience. So a little recap. I've talked about knowing your target audience, knowing the objectives, identifying the important KPIs and metrics. The next thing is to understand your data. Understand the different fields in that data. When you understand your data, you will be able to know if this data set needs cleaning, if it needs transformation, if maybe you need to bring in more data. So after understanding the data and its field, you need to explore the data to see if it needs cleaning, transformation. I think I've said this before. Now, one very important thing is, as you begin to uncover all of these, you need to ensure that you document the process, document your calculations, document the steps, document any pattern that you discover from exploring your data. When you explore your data, you'll be able to identify, okay, is this data a categorical data? Is it a continuous data? All of these things are important. When you know your data type, you'll be able to know what visualization or what visual to use during your analysis. Now you've cleaned your data, you've transformed it, you will now understand what it is you are to do. The next thing is to start analyzing. So you can see that analyzing data like a pro is actually a series of steps. When analyzing your data, you have to ensure that you are analyzing it based on the objectives. Remember, there is an objective. There is always an objective. Make sure you do not drift away or do something entirely different from the objective. Another tip that I have for you is to pay attention to the aesthetics of your visualizations. When presenting these insights, you present using visualizations. In most cases, you present using a dashboard. Sometimes you can have a good insight, or you might want to actually show a good insight, but the title of your visual is misleading. So you want to ensure that your visualizations are not misleading. They're actually telling a story, the story that is aligned to the main objective. You also need to pay attention to the colors that you use. I actually have a video on this channel on best visualization practices for beginners. So make sure you go to that video to know more on how to create effective visualizations. Moving on to the next tip, validate your findings. Fine, you've created an amazing dashboard. You think it's right until it's not. You might have done a good work, but probably during presentation, you leave your stakeholders confused. And they're like, okay, you did a good work, but then this result you have doesn't match the result that we expected. So you need to validate your findings, cross-check your data, make use of your calculator if possible, to ensure that you are actually doing the right thing and that your results are 100% correct. Another very important tip for you is to report back to your stakeholders, letting them know how the project is going and seek their feedback. It is very important to do this. And if there is any correction, they will let you know immediately instead of having to wait till you complete the whole analysis. The last tip that I have here is fine tune your analysis or your dashboard. So this is important because when you seek feedback and they give you corrections, you need to actually do some tweaking or fine tuning so that the dashboard is updated to the current need. So it might not even be a correction. It might just be that, okay, you need to fine tune it to state that your report is updated to the latest data. As your data is increasing, it also has to reflect on your report, your analysis, your dashboard. So you need to constantly check your analysis, your dashboard, your report, and fine tune it if needed. Alright, so that is it for this video. Let me know your thoughts and your comments in the comments section.